Alright, Diablo 4 players, brand new buffs actually coming out pretty soon. The most exciting thing is Ring of Mendel is mentioned, SORC is mentioned, as well as Rogue. But there's a lot of things to go over, and I want to go ahead and mention that this patch will be coming out very soon. That is this next upcoming Tuesday, which is going to be March 4th. There's also some extra news on specifically the PTR. There also may be a delay over here because we have the campfire chat beginning on March 7th. So that's where they're going to be telling us about Season 8's new features, and there's also going to be a public test run. So everyone's going to be able to get their hands on Season 8 probably within the next week, or I don't know exactly the date on the start of it, but they have a campfire, so more than likely we're going to have to test it out for a couple weeks, and then hopefully we will also be getting Season 8 relatively soon, and I'm hoping that we get some more endgame content specifically for that. But anyways, it says on this note over here from Wowhead that it's officially confirmed that they are going to have a delay for Season 8, but nonetheless, we have info on the PTR. We'll talk about that in a second, but I want to go over the patch notes because that's probably why you clicked on this video. So for starters, let's go over the patch notes again. March 4th is when these will be coming out. And that'll be for all platforms. So starting off, Spiritborn, what are the buffs? So the potency on the Sustained War Crozier, the potency skill got increased from 10 to 20% per stack to up to 25. So basically what that means is a 50% bonus to the potency of the skills. Also on Wushnakpa, the primary Spirit Hall potency got increased by another 100%. So maybe this is finally time to go ahead and lock in. This is actually a really cool thing. If you can maybe do a lot of let's say poison damage or something, maybe you can make this something to actually scale. But I've always thought this unique was kind of underutilized. Really cool thing, as well as the Janthus shell. But anyways, there's a couple bug fixes over here where they got things to kind of work, where monsters would get stuck on walls, whatever. I mean, it's still good that this did get fixed, but this also is something to mention, that they fixed an issue where no warning was present when trying to load an armory with more than 2 Runewords. But specifically, when you guys are doing the armory, there's always some sort of bug or interaction where make sure if you guys are trying to interact with the armory that when you swap your loadouts, to always make sure that you have the correct runes and make sure the rune words are correct. It seems like this and the gems kind of have an issue when you are messing around with the armory, so just make sure if you guys are ever doing anything with the armory that your rune words and gems are correct when you swap. Okay, so this is for all classes now. We kind of went over the Spiritborn ones. Honestly, these are pretty small as far as the top build. I don't know if this is going to be changing because you take a build that is 10 to 20,000 times less is the top tier build. Is that going to be changing things? I don't know. You Spiritborn players can let me know. It's the one class I haven't actually made this season. But anyways, as far as the season of Witchcraft, we're getting some powers here. So this is Grow. This has to do with minions. Obviously, Ring of Mendel, if this goes up, that's awesome. And then on top of that, maybe we can see some additional buffs because Grow, which is all about minions, Companion Druids, maybe you can mess around with even Barbarian, as Barbarian summons are getting an update too, which is essentially the Ancients. But this is kind of cool to get an increase over here. So basically almost doubling its power over here. So it's 45 to 75 here. Doom Orb is getting an increase. The bonus on kills and damage to the boss gets increased by another 60%, so it's a pretty big jump over there. Then Firebat Servants is getting another increased damage from 20% to 40%. This is all going to make leveling really easy, especially if you are making a brand new character, so I always think that that's a good thing. Wave of Woe is also getting increased, and the Hex of Flames is also getting increased, the Poison Frog, so all of these things that do damage are getting a buff. But I'll be honest, as far as leveling goes, you throw in that Poison AoE, you just walk, and you can pretty much delete most of the content up until you get to Torment or World Tier 1. I think that this is a great thing to go ahead and I guess help out some of the players that are still leveling up other characters. But again, the Poison one is just so much better because it doesn't have any cooldown or activation requirements. I think that one is still going to be kind of the go-to. But I don't know if any of these are going to be so good that we can make a build around that. I'm hoping that we can, because I think that is always cool to mess around with some sort of new seasonal build. But nonetheless, these are all getting buffed. Now, as far as Druid goes, with the Waxing Gibbous, the inherent additive critical strike damage replaced with plus 50 chance for Shred to deal double damage. So this is going to be a pretty big buff. I don't know if any of you guys tried Shred Druid. Honestly, I tried it. It was pretty underwhelming compared to Cataclysm. This is miles behind because you don't have 100% overpower. Is this going to be making Shred the top tier thing? I would say I'm going to keep my expectations realistic for myself, and you guys honestly say probably skip out on it. Is it a good buff? Sure. I mean, 50% chance to deal double damage is a pretty big stat, right? This is kind of the problem that you have on uniques. You can't temper on sort of those things to deal double damage. Same thing with like even the mythic weapons, which we've already talked about. But this is definitely a huge buff, but you cannot compare this to Cataclysm. Okay, if you want similar stats, it's not even close. The Wolf's Rain, the hurricane damage per wolf got increased. So if you want to make a pet companion hurricane build, again, when you're looking at something that can 100% overpower, it's really too hard to compete with. Although I don't know if you can try to snapshot Hurricane and keep that up. Maybe you can mess around with that. But this, yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, Rogue. Assassin's Stride, the Shadow Imbued Potency got increased over here by another 40%, so it's like 50% in terms of its buff. But there's another buff here with Rogue, which we'll talk about, that is supposed to be a lot better. It has to do with Shadow Clones, as, well, that's basically getting double damage, right? Because you can 100% uptime the Shadow Clones. For this Sorcerer, we have Ball Lightning, so the damage got increased. And we actually are showing off some Ball Lightning gameplay in the background. I actually dropped 2 different Ball Lightning builds, and I'm going to be straight up real with you guys. Is this going to make Ball Lightning amazing and super, super good like in Season 2? No. It just simply doesn't do enough damage. I would recommend the Spinning Ball Lightning, though, over the ranged one, but there's another buff, which we'll check out, and we'll see what the numbers are looking like, but I can tell you for sure, just with this change, it's not enough. Anyways, Glass Cannon, the damage got increased over here, so it's another buff to SORC. Okay, that's cool. We have Veer's Mastery, transfer your shock skills to arc to another enemy, got increased by 5%, because everyone's taking the one where, like, you get to build up to, like, 100, which we're using right now, too. It's a key passive, and then you get, like, a good burst amount of damage, and then it goes back and resets. I don't think that this is going to be changing things here. And then Esu's Ferocity, also another buff for any fire sword, so crit strike damage getting increased for 25%, and fire critical strike chance. What the heck? 40%? That's a huge amount. That's 4 times the amount of critical strike chance. And then I think you also get 12% on the Paragon board. So you get 52 just with that alone. And remember, the base is 5, so you have 57% critical strike chance with fire without even any pieces of gear. That's cool. I mean, you know what's weird? I've always felt like lightning was more related to crit, but hey, you guys do what you want to do. But this is a very interesting thing that they're just giving us this much of a buff. And, you know, maybe we can mess around with Incinerate, because even though Incinerate is like a dot build, there's like stuff that kind of ties into critical strike damage. So maybe it's now time to lock in some Fire Sorks, which is cool. Oh, well, Fire Sork is already like actually pretty good, but nonetheless, it has to do with like the shatter thing. Anyways, unique items, Axial Conduit, Explosion now scales with Chain lightning rings. I actually really like this for leveling, but to be real, just like a lot of skills, they just fall off when you're in World Tier 4 doing like Pit 100s. Like, there's just so many builds, it just cannot compete. I don't know if this is going to be changing things. I remember though, I have gameplay of this back in, I don't know, was Season 5 or something? It's either 5 or 6, where like the Axial Conduit, it did like infinite damage. It just went through the moon. I don't know if this is going to do that again, but it would be cool to see at least somewhat of relevancy, because that thing was really fun, and when it came out, it was not the same, man. But Okune's Catalyst. Okay, so this is the one that you guys are seeing right now. So the previous effect, okay, so this is reworded for clarity. So previously you would have Ball Lightning that would orbit around you to do damage per active ball, and you are unhindered as long as the field is active. And then now, casting Ball Lightning instead creates a separate static field around you that damages all enemies within it for 140 to 180. So the numbers looks like it's same. Wait, is this a nerf? Because now it's not an X. The difference between an X and a non-X is pretty big in Diablo, unless this is a typo. Because there's no way they would nerf it, right? Ball Lightning's damage per active ball, you are unhindered. Wow. Okay, so as far as I'm aware of, this build that you guys are seeing, it's not the top tier SORC build. I think it's one of the most fun ones, but it is not top tier. And the fact that they were removing the multiplier off this just makes this completely dead. Unless they're doing something else, I don't know. That's the only thing that I saw that was like really important to mention. I'll test it out. I'll let you guys know if it was already not good though, that's the thing. So, I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, now Strike of Stormhorn. This is the other build that we just dropped gameplay for, and it's getting a buff, cool. But again, it's not even close. Like this one was way better anyways. But it says now scales with R. What is an R rank? I think that's a typo, but unless it's supposed to be something else. I don't know. It says R ranks of Ball Lightning. But if that actually scales with even more damage, this could be actually good. So it says the unique power has been rewarded for clarity. So previously it used to do up to 200x increased damage. Now it's 225. My guess though, guys, it is definitely underperforming. Okay, I'm guessing they did not remove the X. This might just be for like wording clarity or whatever. But as far as this goes, there's no way they're changing this X to just an additive. If they do, the build is dead. Okay, but if this is changed over here. This is the thing that matters the most. Again, sometimes with Diablo, I'm gonna be real with you guys, you just gotta test it out. Even though it says it now scales, what does that mean, right? But we'll see what the damage is looking like. All right, so Season of Witchcraft, the message that displays uprooted cocoon immersion has been updated to not suggest a head could be present. Oh, okay, that's something that's there. And then they fix some like party searching bugs over here. And then Season of Witchcraft, most of these are just certain things where maybe it was not interacting properly. But a fixed issue where the menus could malfunction. Okay, these are mostly like bug fixes. But there's another change with the Shadow Clone. Okay, so this is what mattered. So fixed an issue where damage from Rogue Shadow Clone was not correctly inheriting additional skill tags. Oh, such as granted from Voice of the Stars. Okay, so that's going to be another... Well, it says such as. So that is Voice of the Stars, which I believe is about as like at 10% or something like that. So that's going to be a buff. And then there's also another issue with Poison and Shadow Imbuement wasn't properly attributed. Oh, okay. So there's 2 buffs to the Shadow Clone. Now, as far as I'm aware of, the one that has the biggest push with like the Dance of Knives, which we have a build for, is like the Cold. I don't know if that like, it says such as. So that could be other things. We'll see. I'll give you guys some updates to that build because I do want to upload more of this build, but it's one of the best leveling rogue builds for sure. So there's a change to that, and there's also a mention of the Call of the Ancients. So they fixed an issue where the Supreme Call of Ancients didn't function. Oh, because is that only the change? Okay. So let's see what that does. Okay, so checking out what is Supreme Call of the Ancients, I had to double check. Then it makes so each of the Ancients gains additional power. So I guess that wasn't functioning properly, and that is going to be better. Now, is that going to make the build much better? It could be that it gains extra skill tags. I'm not actually sure. Again, with Diablo 4, we gotta just be testing these things. Okay. So, again, one thing that's important that I want to mention at the before I end this video is that we're going to be talking about Season 8 very soon. That's going to be March 7th at 11 a.m. If I do happen to be awake at that time, I'll stream it. But if not, I'll give you guys like a summary of the entire thing. So if you guys don't watch it, you guys just want to know that kind of what's new here, and more likely going to show off some new uniques. Maybe we get set items. I don't know. Hopefully some updates to all of the classes. Usually we get like 1 or 2 aspects and then a unique for every single build. But it's been a while since we got any new mythic items. So I'm hoping that we get an announcement of mythic buffs, because I've already mentioned that as a Diablo partner to Blizzard, that we really need to see some buffs to the mythic weapons in particular, because there is 0 builds at the top tier that even play mythic weapons. Sometimes you'll see like an Arrow of Perdition, Ring of the Starless Skies, but like no one's playing Grandfather. No one's playing any of like the spears, or like any of the was it Shatter Vow, any of the ones that are like the mythic weapons. So hopefully we can see a buff to that as well. But yeah, Season 8, really excited about it, and I'll give you guys like the rundown of that. But that's going to go and wrap it up for the patch notes. Let me know, guys, what you think of this. Are you guys excited? Which classes are you guys the most excited to go ahead and check out? For me, I already have the Ball Lightning build done, so I'll let you guys know if this one is any good. And again, the Ring of Mendel is mentioned here, so hopefully this maybe was causing an issue with the thing, and hopefully, fingers crossed now, with the grow, right? Because we have increased minions, plus this, maybe the minions can finally rise, but who knows? Honestly, I don't expect minions to be on the same level as Bloodwave, but if you want to level up Necromancer, that's like the best build this season. Go level it up, and then if this is good, I'll let you guys know. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up. If you are brand new here and you guys want an update to this, because I'll give you guys the rundown if it's worth investing into, again, the SORC or the Ring of Mendel, subscribe if you're new, and I'll let you guys know. Anyways, take care. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and let me know if you're excited to play anything.